Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. Welcome to another wonderful week where the tea is still hot, and this is your source for all things Nintendo. We've got some interesting updates that occurred over the weekend, plus I want to dig into a question that is currently percolating around the minds of every Nintendo fan. Will Breath of the Wild 2 be missing E3? Will it be there? Or will we be bummed? I've seen this circulating a lot, and I have done some research, and I am here with a verdict. So what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hope you're all doing amazing. Let's get through a few things fast first, but smash that like button if you enjoy these videos. It does support the channel a lot, and let me know in the comments down below how you feel about BOTW 2 gonna be at that showcase mid-June. First though, Nikkei reported, they're a big Japanese publication over there across the sea, they reported that Nintendo is planning to up their production of Nintendo Switch to 30 million units this fiscal year. Now, the Switch is unstoppable. It keeps selling incredibly well, games keep outperforming their expectations, and it's just so much fun. But Nikkei also indicated that, hey, they're working on a better graphics model. And if you connect the dots, maybe one of the reasons they are planning to up the production is because they have something big and new and that will sell a lot. Now you could argue that, hey, they're just gonna continue to sell the OG Switch. Why would they introduce something new? But now, guys and girls, it's Bloomberg, it's Nikkei, it's a whole lot of analysts and insiders. The Switch Pro is nearly inevitable. I just wanna see if it hits this holiday season or sometime early next year. But hey, good news is the Switch is selling like hotcakes and it ain't going anywhere. Fall Guys, on the other hand, is going somewhere not named summer. And it's a bummer to see this delay because I really felt that Fall Guys could be one of the shadow drop games during the E3 Nintendo Direct. Like we had Hollow Knight and Fortnite, it just fit. Fall Guys is a fun multiplayer title. There's a lot of buzz around that game and it would just be a nice one to drop on that day. But hey, they announced it's not coming to Xbox or Switch this summer. TBD, no specific release window, but they are gonna be adding crossplay, which I think is good. That game, shot off like a rocket and now is kind of parachuting its way down to reality. It could use an injection of new players, but opening things up to crossplay will be really great so you can play Switch in bed with your friends that aren't as lucky. Quick note for my Animal Crossing fans out there, I have been doing a little behind the scenes work. I posted a couple of interesting videos this past week and weekend about a data mine and some things about a cafe and camera settings. Maybe you've seen the video. If not, you should definitely check it out. It's pretty exciting. And now I can confirm that it's even more exciting because while I was about 90% sure that data mine was accurate and real beforehand, I now have confirmed that that data mine is 100% real and actual and from the in-game code. So if you were excited but tepid, maybe you can get a little more excited. And I heard from a bird named Blathers that I might have another interesting drop of data coming sometime soon. In the meantime though, let's talk about The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. Probably the biggest Switch game on the horizon, you could say. But is it on the horizon? We've seen people go back and forth on, yeah, this is the big game for 2021, and no, it's not coming out this year. People saying, oh, it's tied to the Switch Pro launch, and no, that's not necessarily true. Well, lately I've seen a lot of people say, hey, it may not be at E3 2021. And this stems around from people saying the Switch Pro is not launching this year, instead in 2022, and that Breath of the Wild 2 probably isn't ready. Would they only give a couple of months to hype one of the biggest sequels in Nintendo history? Because that's what Breath of the Wild 2 will be. If they show off the game in June and then it launches in October or November, that's only about 5 months, which doesn't seem like a lot. But here is what I have figured out and found. Nintendo has been very transparent and very open on their game development progress in this era, in this generation. And I firmly believe that if Nintendo was not doing well with Breath of the Wild, they probably would let us know. Remember that this game was shown off 2 years ago at E3, and the original Breath of the Wild came out 4 years ago, right about now. So we've got a lot of time for them to work on this game, and they did recently say a positive, not a negative. And this is all based on fact and history and data. When they had their last Direct, they said, hey, we'll be giving you an update on Breath of the Wild 2 later this year, which I guess could be the Game Awards or something in December, but it's almost assuredly E3. Nintendo has loved to update their fans when something is going poorly, when something went amiss and when something got delayed. Back in 2015, Nintendo posted an update in March letting fans know that Breath of the Wild would not be at E3. That's the first BOTW. Back then it was supposed to launch on just Wii U, and yes, they did shift plans to release the game on the Switch in 2017, so that's part of it, but they were very open and direct with fans saying, hey, it's not gonna be at E3. Then yet again, in 2019, they announced that Metroid Prime 4 was going to be delayed. It needed to be reworked, they were having issues, they apologized, which was so sweet and precious of them, and they put the game on a much further track down the line to keep it out of our minds and not have us worrying and waiting. Now, Nintendo knows that Breath of the Wild 2 is the biggest thing out there, and I want you to know that that Breath of the Wild 2 trailer dropped after their apology for Metroid Prime 4. So maybe you think, hey, Nintendo goofed with Metroid Prime 4, showed off the logo, and then it wasn't ready. Maybe they did the same with Breath of the Wild 2. They showed off the trailer way before anything substantial was done in that game, but that's just not the case because they already apologized for Metroid Prime 4, and there's no way they'd do that same thing twice. Breath of the Wild 2 had to be a decent ways along to showcase that trailer, and I don't think it was just to grab fans' attention, because E3 2019 was known as one of the best E3s for Nintendo in recent memory, and nobody anticipated Breath of the Wild 2, so that was just an extra piece of frosting on an already yummy, scrumptious, gluten-free cake. So I think Nintendo knows we expect Breath of the Wild 2, they know they have a track record of following through on their announcements, and they know that this is the big anniversary year for The Legend of Zelda. So even if The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 is to slip into 2022, because let's be real, delays happen. Nearly every game has been delayed except most of Nintendo's bigger titles. They've managed to hit new Pokemon Snap, and they've managed to hit plenty of other games that they have promised. They delivered maybe not a full lineup last year, but they hit what they mentioned. And they've been really good about shortened hype cycles. Remember things like Paper Mario and the Origami King? Announced on Twitter, and then it's out a couple months later. Nintendo is not shy about locking in a release date and then going full steam ahead. So it's perfectly plausible that The Legend of Zelda could release this year, but even if it doesn't, I think it is going to be a tentpole piece of E3. Imagine how weird it would feel if they said, hey, it's the big anniversary of Zelda, and we've got Skyward Sword, and Twilight Princess, and we got freaking Wind Waker, but Breath of the Wild 2, I don't know. It's struggling. I feel like that would be such a downer that Nintendo would have prefaced their E3 showcase with an announcement saying, hey, BOTW 2 ain't ready. 2015, they announced that March 27th. So that was almost 3 full months before E3. We are now a month and a half or less away from Nintendo's E3 showcase, and later this week we should be finding out their plans. They do have a financial call, and that might be the time where they tell us, hey, exactly what day the Direct will happen and what else they've got going on. Maybe some tree houses or who knows what else, some developer deep dive, something of the sort. Tournament, I've heard suggested, but that seems unlikely given the state of things, but hey, you never know. Nintendo is creative and fun, and they usually do a freaking great job of displaying a great plethora of titles and experiences at E3. And what's really exciting this year is that the focus will be on everything new. Oftentimes Nintendo loves to have very popular games from recent time at E3 to get people out there and playing, and now there's nobody there. E3 is all digital, so it does no good to highlight or emphasize things from the past. This is going to be a very forward-looking E3, and I think Breath of the Wild 2, whether it does release in 5 months or whether it does release in about 8 to 12, I think this game is one of the most exciting, biggest pieces of Nintendo's near-term future. And even if you're to say, hey, there might be a separate Legend of Zelda Direct that is either right before or right after E3, that's possible. I mean, the Mario 35th presentation was in September, but we know that was delayed due to COVID. I still think Breath of the Wild 2 is such a big gun for Nintendo. It is such a tentpole pillar of their platform that it has to be in their premier showcase, which is E3. So long story short, past precedent tells us that Nintendo is transparent, open, and when there are delays or problems, they let us know. Even when they haven't promised something, it's not like they promised Metroid Prime 4 or they promised Breath of the Wild 2 a certain time frame, they just let us know that it was happening. And so I think they would let us know if Breath of the Wild 2 was doing something weird or having a problem, especially since they recently told us we would be getting an update at some point later this year. They just weren't ready. At the last Direct, I think it's all being saved for a big E3 showcase, which should be awesome. But let me know your take in the comments down below. Do you believe that Breath of the Wild 2 will be at E3? Or based on some of the rumors and some of the concerns and some of those Reset Era insiders saying, Breath of the Wild 2 probably not this year, Switch Pro probably not this year. you think it might skip the E3 Direct? I really don't think so, and I think we have history to back that up. Also, I just saw this, breaking news. There's a graphic going around for Sonic's 30th anniversary, which promises new games into 2022. We have seen some Switch rumors about maybe a Sonic Colors remake or a new title, so we'll keep our ears and eyes on that. Everybody's having an anniversary. It's sort of fun and interesting and also crazy that so many of the biggest video game characters and mascots all were birthed around the same time. I mean, look at the Mario anniversary, the Legend of Zelda anniversary, DK, Sonic, all these big things kind of happening. It's a really great fun time to be a gamer and especially a Switch owner. So thanks so much for sharing your morning with me. I hope you guys are all doing amazing. I will get back to the polls. I keep forgetting that and I'm so sorry. But stay tuned, check the community tab for another awesome poll soon. Make sure to check out all the videos coming your way this week. Good Morning Mario, every weekday morning and more in the evenings. Until that time though, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Love you guys a lot. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Smash that like button, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive. And until next time, SwitchForce out.